all over this packet just so you guys can get a little bit more work in. Let's go to the calculator active part so we can get through that a little bit quicker. And I want to do the calculator inactive part tomorrow. I'm not going to say that we're going to get done with every single question in the next 2 days, but we're going to try real hard, okay? But I won't teach the entire period because that'll drive you crazy. All right. So let's look at number 16. All right, it says which expression is equivalent to the cube root of 8x squared y to the third z to the fourth? This is called a root, and these are called powers. So those little numbers, so it's the cube root, and it's x to the second power, y to the third power, z to the fourth power. I want you to think about, logically, think about this, okay? Where do you find roots? Like not math roots, like regular, like tree roots.
On the ground.
In the ground, right? So they're on the bottom. Where do you find power? Where they at?
On top.
On top, right? In the sky. Everybody okay with that? If you think about power like a CEO or something like that, they're in the penthouse suite, which is the very top of the skyscraper. Does everybody understand that? So powers go on top, roots go on the bottom. So we can do the cube root of 8 in our calculator. That's the part we can do. Then when you get the x, the power goes on top, the root goes on the bottom. That's all you have to do to fix this. So that's how you make it look like this right here. So then same thing with the y, the power goes on top, the root goes on the bottom. And the same thing with the z, the power on the top, the root on the bottom. What is 3 over 3? 1. So we should have x to the 2/3. Y, you can put the 1, but they don't have the 1. And then you have z to the 4/3. Okay. We can already see that our answer is going to be B. The cube root of 8 is 2. And you can put that in your calculator. If you have a regular calculator, to find that, you go under the key math. And it's right there, number 4. And then you type in 8. If you do it on your Desmos, you just put up the little keyboard thing. So I got it. I don't care which calculator you use. You'll have both of them. Either or is fine. All right. Look at number 18. Again, trying to find some easy ones. Just kind of go through quick. It says you have the formula equals E equals mc squared. M is the mass. C is the speed of light. It wants you to find m. So if I'm solving for m, what do I need to get rid of? The c, right? How do I get rid of that c? Divide it. So what I do to one side, I do to the other side. If it's the same on the top and the bottom, we mark it off. So m equals E over c squared. That was that simple. Okay, that simple. I have a pen. All right, we're going to keep going. Like I said, just trying to do the easiest ones first. Check this one out. I'm going to go to Desmos. All right. So on this one, I'm just going to type in what I see. X to the 1/3. I don't want that. I want the big. To the -3. Let me get that up there. We did do it. All right, to the -3. That's what that looks like. It wants to know which one's equivalent. So it says square root of x. Did those look the same? Remember, equivalent is always Desmos. All right, what about, not that. How about 1 over x? What did I just do? Let me try again. Sorry, y'all. Welcome to Desmos. What about 1 over x? Yeah, did you see it graphed right over it? Remember, you can turn it on and off just to make sure. So our answer for this one is going to be what? Let me get back to this. Okay. We're going to come back to 21 and 22. We'll come back to that one as well. It's not hard. We'll come back to this one. Notice there's a lot, y'all. This is a released version. Notice there's a lot of charts on here or whatever. Look at 33. Look at 33. And again, we'll come back and we might do some of these that we skipped in just a minute, but I'm trying to find some easy ones. It says the area of a trapezoid is found using the formula. So it has a formula for you where A is the area, H is the height, and they give you H, B1 and B2 they give you. So all you're doing, guys, is plugging into the formula. So you're plugging B1 in here, B2 in here, and height in right there. So everybody got that? So I'm going to do that. 1/2. Our height was 4. Base 1 was x minus 3. Plus base 2 is x plus 7. All they want you to do is simplify this. Again, you can put this into Desmos and then put your answers in and see which ones overlap, and that's fine, and you don't have to do any work. Or we can just go ahead and simplify it down. What's 1/2 of 4? So 2. What is x plus x? That's multiply. 2x. That's okay. And then -3 plus 7, or 7 minus 3 is 4. And then we distribute. What's 2 times 2x? 4x. What's 4 times 2? So your answer is B. Any questions? And again, you can take this part instead of simplifying it, just like he made that little mistake, x times x is x squared, but x plus x is 2x. You can put this in, and I'll show you guys that. I don't mind at all. I just need to share screen. And let's go to Desmos. As long as you put it in correctly, Desmos is going to be your best friend. So 1/2, 4, and then we had x minus 3 plus x plus 7. And then you want to type in your answer. So my first answer was 4x plus 2. And you guys can see the 2 graphs, right? Let's try the next one. It was 4x plus 8. You don't have to do the work. So a lot of the calculator active, if you just plug them in. If you can set it up, you can get your answers, okay? So work really hard with that Desmos. Look at your next ones. Look at 41. Remember we did next nows, right? Everybody remember next nows? This is an easy question. Should be for you. How do I get from 2 to 8, 8 to 32, 32 to 128? What am I doing? I'm times them by 4. Is everybody okay with that? How many of those say that? Only one of them, right? Which one? That's it. Is everybody good? What about this one? What would this one be? What would this look like if B were our answer? Nope. It actually wouldn't. Instead of increasing, what would it be doing? Decreasing. So if you got something that looked like that, 128, 32, 8, 2, and it kept going, that would be this one. You're dividing by 4 every time. Is that right good? All right, let's keep looking. We got 44. It says P is located at 810. S is located at 12, -6. Again, we're at 44. It says that R is the midpoint of these, and then Q is the midpoint of these two. What are the coordinates of Q? You don't have to have your calculator for this. You don't have to have anything for this. What's in the middle of 8 and 12? What number is in the middle of 8 and 12? 10. Is everybody good so far? What number is in the middle of 10 and 12? Look at all of your answers. It's got to be C because we're looking for Q. You could do the same thing with the 10 and the -6 and keep working your way down. Okay. Let's see. Look at number 45. 45 is one of the most missed on the check-ins that we do. Okay, one like 45. Okay. The sequence below shows the total number of days Francisco has used his gym membership at the end of weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. At the end of weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. Assuming the pattern continued, which function could be used to find the total number of days Francisco had used his gym membership at the end of the week? So this is what you have, guys. 1, 2, end of week 3, end of week 4 is 4, 9, 14, 19. What's happening each time? Look at it. 4 doubled is 8, 9 doubled is 18, so it's not doubling. How do I get from 4 to 9 and 9 to 14? Yeah, we're going up by 5 every time. Does everybody see that? Is everybody good? All right, so we know it's plus 5, right? Okay. But it's not plus 5 on the end. Remember, this is our change. That means it's going to be linear. If it's multiplied, it's exponential. So this is what? What do I do? What else do I need? This is actually your slope. And then we got to find where we started. How do I find that? What's 5, -5 plus 4? Or 4 minus 5? -1. So which one of these says we start at -1? So be careful on that. We don't start at 4. A lot of you will put C. Be careful about that. We got to get to the 0. Sphere, what's the approximate diameter? All right, so let's look at this one. This says the volume of a sphere is 2,400 cubic centimeters. What is the approximate diameter of this sphere? So it gives you the volume formula. What's that R stand for? If we're talking about diameter and volume, what do you think the R stands for? Say it again. I didn't hear you. Nope. What's a diameter? What's a diameter? You should know. Nobody knows? It's an awkward way to say it, but you are correct. So if we look at a circle, it's the line that goes all the way through the center. That's the diameter. Okay, so that's what we're trying to find. Well, what is half of that called? Do y'all know? So the full line is called a diameter. Half a line is called the radius. And that's what the R is. Okay. R is the radius. So if we find the radius, remember it's half. So what do we do to find the diameter? If this is halfway, what do we do to find the diameter? Times it by 2. So that's what we're going to do in the end. Does everybody make sense now? Okay. So it tells us the volume is 2,400. Remember, you can do this on Desmos. It will take you a little while because that number is 2,400 and that's a big number, okay? What else could I do? How do I get R by itself? Because that's the only thing I have left. That's what I'm solving for. What do I need to get rid of if I'm solving for R? You guys just did a question like this. If I want to get R by itself, 4/3 pi. How do I get rid of it? Divide it, right? We can do that on the calculator. Don't worry about it being 4/3 pi. What I do to one side, I do to the other. I'm going to put this in my regular calculator for right now just because it's easier for me to put it on the screen. I'm going to do alpha y equals 2,400 on the bottom. Sorry, I want to put parentheses in. 4/3 and pi. Watch how you put it into your calculator, okay? Watch how you put it in. So then you get this big number. 572.957, and that's good enough, okay? So let me ask you this. Ignore this problem for just a minute. How would I solve this problem? Not divide. We talked about this a couple days. Y'all don't know the name of it. Yep, the little checky box is square root, right? Okay, so we would square root. If we had this x cubed, this means square root. This means cube root. So whatever your root is here, that's what you're going to do. So if they're x to the 4th, you would do the 4th root. Does that make sense? So in our regular calculator, we would go into math. So it's under math number 4. And we would take the cube root of this number. So hit enter, and I'm just going to slide up and highlight it and put it in there so I don't have to fix it. And what do we get? We get that R equals 8.3. Look at your answers. See how they have that on there? They didn't ask us for R. What did they ask us for? Make sure you answer what they ask for. So you tell me if we have this part, how do we get the full part? So we're going to times this by 2. What's 8 times 2? 16. So the only one is A. So be careful about that, okay? So this is 16.6. Make sure you answer what they're asking. That's how they like to trick you. All right. Look at 49. The scatter plot shows the number of arithmetic errors 10 students made on a quiz and the amount of time the students took to complete the quiz. So you guys can see all those little dots, which describes the relationship between the number of arithmetic errors the students made and the amount of times the students took to complete the quiz. Is it a strong positive, strong negative, weak positive, or weak negative? First of all, is it going up or down? It's going down, so that's got to be negative. So we're going to eliminate these. The question is it strong or weak? Can you see an almost linear shape? That means it's very strong. Does everybody understand that? So 49 is B, just looking at it. Again, what would make it weak is if they're more scattered out. See how this almost makes a perfect line? That means it's strong. Okay, 50. kind of a common sense question. An elevator can hold a maximum of 1,500 pounds. 8 people need to use the elevator. Bill had some measures from the data set of how much each person weighed. Which measure would be most useful to determine if the people can safely use the elevator? The mean, the median, the mode, or the interquartile range? The what? Think about it. If we all want to get on the elevator, but we don't know exactly how much we weigh, what can we do? The mean. You're going to take the average weight and then multiply that by the number of people. Does that make sense? All right. Let me go back through. Let me see if there's any calculator inactive that are pretty easy. Yes. Number 3. Look at number 3. Anytime you see these 2 sets of parentheses like this, it means factor. I don't need my calculator for this. I do not need my calculator for this. So we only have 2 terms. So remember, our first step is always to break it down. So this is going to be T and T. What are your factors of 36? Oh, what do you notice? It's pairs. So we have a T and a 6, a T and a 6. So we know it's not C and D. Is it going to be 2 negatives or 1 positive, 1 negative? 1 positive, 1 negative. You don't need a calculator for that. If you don't like that factor of 36 and you get another one, you'll still see pairs. Okay, you'll still see pairs. All right. Now, this one's pretty easy. Okay, it says, which is the graph of 4x squared? This is number 4 minus 8x plus 7. You do not need a calculator for this. The big thing that you're going to look at is that last number. What is that last number called? It's where you start or your y-intercept. Perfect. So we're looking for a 7 for a y-intercept. Our y-intercept on this one is 4. That's crap. We don't want that. Look at B. Do you even see it? Let's look at C. This y-intercept is way up here at 10. Where is this one at? That's tough, wasn't it? Yeah. No. They're pretty easy. They're not too bad. Look at 13. Also calculator inactive. It's 11:15. We're having a fire drill. So we'll definitely be done by then. Just throwing that out there. All right, look at 13. It says the larger leg of a right triangle is 3 centimeters longer than the smaller leg. The hypotenuse is 6 centimeters longer than the smaller leg. How many centimeters long is the smaller leg? So you have a right triangle with a short leg and a long leg. It says the larger leg, this is the hypotenuse. You got to know what they are. So the longer leg is the one I have on the bottom, is 3 longer than the small leg. How do I write that? If I say you're 3 inches taller than me, how would you figure out your height? Add 3. You add 3, right? So we're going to do x plus 3. Very good. You got to think about it. The hypotenuse, that's the diagonal, is 6 centimeters longer than the smaller. So how do I figure that out? It's 6 centimeters longer, just like this one said, 3 centimeters longer. How do I do it? X plus 6, right? Well, it didn't tell us anything about the smaller, so what do I put for the small one? Yeah, because I don't know it. All right. It says, how many centimeters long is the small leg? How do I do this? How do I do a right triangle? I have a 90-degree angle. That's how I know it's a right triangle, but that doesn't help me with the problem. Do I have a formula with a right triangle? What is it? Yeah, we've done it, right? How many times have we done it? Remember when we were finding like slope and the distance and stuff? What do we use? I can't hear you. What did you do with rise over run though? You put it into some formula. What formula? Oh, come on. The name of the formula or the actual formula? Of the formula? A. Wow. Wow. How about a squared plus equals a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So we're going to do that. I'm going to write it up here just so you guys can see it. You're going to need that, okay, because it's going to ask you distance, and we do distance by the Pythagorean theorem. So your two straight sides are your A and your B. It doesn't matter which order you put them in, and the third side or the diagonal, the hypotenuse, is the C. So we're going to do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay. So this means write it twice. X times X is X squared. This means write X plus 3 squared. This problem is longer to do, not harder, longer. So remember those. All right. We can multiply these by the box, or we can do double distribute, okay? So I'm going to double distribute it. If you want to do the box, that's fine. X times X is X squared. X times 3 is 3X. 3 times X is 3X. And 3 times 3 is 9. If you want to use the box, that's fine. Over here, if I do the same thing, X squared, 2 6X's, and a 36. Okay, X times X is X squared, X times 6 is 6X, 6 times X is 6X, and 6 times 6 is 36. That would be the 4 boxes that you do. All right, clean it up. I have X squared plus X squared is 2X squared. 3X plus 3X is 6X. And then I have a plus 9. On the other side, I have 1X squared. A 6X plus 6X is 12X. And a 36. I got to get it equal to 0. I'm going to move everything to one side. Anytime I have X squared and X, I'm factoring, move it to the other side. So I'm going to take away an X squared. I'm going to take away 12X. And I'm going to take away 36. 2 minus 1 is 1X squared. Think of these backwards. I have 6 minus 12, but what's 12 minus 6? And my bigger one is negative. Does everybody see that? What is 36 minus 9? You can do that on your hands. How much? Yeah, not quite 26. Count it backwards. 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27. And the bigger one is negative, so we're going to leave it negative.
What you got about that?
All right. What are some factors of 27? 3 and 9. How can I make them equal negative 6? Which one has to be negative for the number to be negative? The big one. Is everybody good? What are your two values right here? If I solve it, instead of -9, the first one will be? The other one will be? Uh-huh. Can I have a distance of -3? No. So what's my distance for x? It wanted the smaller one. That is the smallest one. So it's not a lot. It's just a lot of work. It's not super hard work. All right. Let's see what else we got. 14 is easy.
I'm so sorry, Laura. You can leave.
She's hiding back there. All right. Katie and Jennifer are playing a game. Katie and Jennifer each started with 100 points. At the end of each turn, Katie's points doubled. At the end of each turn, Jennifer's points increased by 200. It says at the start of which turn? At the start of which turn will Katie first have more points than Jennifer? So we're going to start with Katie and Jennifer. And we're just going to make a chart. They started with 100 points. At the end of each turn, so at the end of turn one, Katie's points doubled. So Katie had 100. How many does she have now? 200. Jen increased by 200. So how many does she have? So does Katie have more points than Jennifer? No, we got to keep going. At the end of 2, Katie's points doubled. 400. Jen's increased by 200. Is Katie more than Jennifer? No, so we need to go again. At the end of turn 3, Katie's gonna have double points. What will she have? It's okay, double, multiply by 2. That's okay. Jen is increasing by 200. Is Katie more than Jennifer? Yes, but this is at the end of 3. This says at the start of which turn? So if we're at the end of 3, the start of which turn? 4. That's where they tried to trick you. Good. Good. All right, is everybody good? Keep going, let's see what we got. All right, 19. This one is a calculator active. This is a regular calculator. You don't have to use Desmos on this. If you don't have a calculator, can you guys go ahead and go grab one real fast, please? Grab a calculator. Help each other out if you want to. Give me just a few more minutes and I promise I'll stop talking. I know y'all are probably tired of hearing it. Y'all have been doing great though. All right. So it says, suppose the equation v equals 20.8x squared minus 458.3x plus 3,500 represents the value of a car from 1964 to 2002. What year did the car have the least value? But look at this. It says x equals 0 is 1964. So if 1964 is 0, what is 1965? 1. Does that make sense? What would 1970 be? How would I figure that out? I can use my calculator. How would I figure that out? What? What be 4 years? Not this one. How would I figure out how many years? Yeah, don't make it hard. Subtract it. How many years was that? So this one's going to be 6 years. How about 75? Do it again. 1975 minus 1964 is 11 years. And then 1980 minus 1964 is 16 years. Now, the reason I'm doing that. Helen. Hey. Oh, was that? Oh, that's Miss Walter. Just a second. I was confused. All right. The reason I did that is because it tells you what X is. So we're going to put it in the formula to figure out which one is the least. That's all you do. So right here in our regular calculator, we're going to type in our formula. This says X squared for A. It's 1 squared minus 458.3. X is 1 plus 3,500. We get 3062.5. We're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to plug in 6. Listen carefully. Go up and highlight that. And this should change these to 6s. Okay, you don't have to type it all back in. Some of you guys take forever typing that in. That might make it a little bit easier. We get 1499. Did I see that? So we know it's not this one because we want the least value. Let's try 11. So I'm going to plug in 11. And we get 975.5. Is everybody good? So we know it's not this one. Now let's try 16. We get 1492. Which one's the least? That's your answer. So again, not a hard problem, just takes a little longer. Because they don't ever just ask one question, they ask 50. All right, let's keep looking. I know, I feel the same way. All right, look at 21. Super easy in your calculator. It asks you for the average rate of change. Remember, anytime we see a chart like this, we're probably going to put it where? Stat. If they talk about average rate of change, we're looking for the slope or the A value once we put it in our chart, in our stat. So I'm going to go into stat and edit. Put your values in. Check them, 04, 07, 14, 25, 49, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to go over to stat, calc, and linear regression. Anytime it's average rate of change, is slope, and we're looking for A. Our A is 0.108. Hold on. I lied to you because I didn't read the problem. I didn't, but I did. Anytime it tells you from week 8 to week 12, don't put anything else in. So just delete those values out. So I'm sorry. Sorry, y'all. Stat, calc, linear regression, then put those in. And it changes it to 0.1125, which is D. I apologize. I need to read the question fully. What do you not see on here? What if we normally see that we don't see on here? The R values. How do I get those back? Because here's what happened. Middle school borrowed our calculators, and so they reset them. Your calculator will be reset when you get it on Wednesday. So how do I get that R back? Mode, and turn those stat diagnostics on. So there's your stat diagnostics. Turn it on. Y'all have to remind each other of that. I cannot tell you that. So then when I do this, my R will be back. Don't forget that. Okay, is everybody good? Let's see what else we have. Don't want to do that one just yet. See if I can find some more. Okay, we've done some like 20, 29. Look at 29. Notice they say mean, range, interquartile range, standard deviation. That's your 1 bar stats. Okay, that's your 1 bar stat. So you're still going to put it into stat. Okay, still going to put it into L1, but we don't have an L2 this time, so we can get rid of that. 6, 59, 12, 11, 9, 54, 54, 46. Now I'm going to hold off doing anything for a minute and I'm going to read the problem. Delaware has an area of 2,000 square miles, which is true if Delaware is included. So hold it out for a minute and write down what it has without Delaware. So stat, calc, 1 var stats. What is our mean right now? 31.375. We don't know our range. I'll get to that in a minute. We don't know our interquartile range. I'll get to that in a minute. Standard deviation, remember, is that one right there, the 22.18. It doesn't matter which one you choose as long as you keep it consistent, okay? Both of them represent standard deviation. What is range? Well, on this one, in this case, it's the biggest number minus the smallest number, but it's still a distance. 59 minus 6. What's 59 minus 6? 53. The interquartile range is this Q3 and this Q1, the distance between those. So 54 minus 10 would be 44. So now, listen carefully. Here's where they try to trick you. Read what this says. Area what? So this should be 6,000, 59,000, 12,000, 11. Everybody understand that? Well, if I add Delaware in, what number am I actually putting in the chart? 2. Does that make sense to you guys? So watch that. That's where they try to trick you. We're not putting 2,000 in. We're putting 2 in. So we're going to go back into our stat and edit. And at the very bottom, I'm going to throw a 2 in for Delaware. And then I'm going to do my 1 var stats again. All right. Let's look at our mean. Did our mean increase? No. So we know it's not right. Let's look at our standard deviation because I don't have to do any work for that. 22.8. It was 22.18. Did the standard deviation increase? Yes or no? 22.18 to 22.8. Did it increase or decrease? It increased, right? So D should be our answer. Let's check B and C. The new range, your maximum is 59. Your minimum is 2. 59 minus 2 is 57. Did that decrease? No. Okay, so if you're not sure about that other one, just check the other ones. 54 and 7.5. I can do that in my calculator. 54 minus 7.5 gives me 46.5. Did it decrease? No, it increased. So I can eliminate all of those if I need to. Make sure you know what the range and the interquartile range is. So if you don't know, the range is the biggest number minus the littlest number. The interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. Okay, so make sure you know those because they do ask those a couple times. All right. (32) 32 literally asks you the slope of the linear model. So we're going to go into our stat, type in our values. The top goes in L1, 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Stat, calc, linear regression. Our slope is what? Yeah, you're right. 0.8. That's perfect. This one says 5 miles every minute and 4 miles every minute. That's not this one. Does everybody understand that? That would be 5 over 1, which is 5, or 4 over 1, which is 4. So neither one of those are right. So now what we have to figure out is it 4 miles every 5 minutes Or is it 5 miles every 4 minutes? Does that make sense? Everybody see that? Okay. For 36, I'm going to go to Desmos. 36 says, after how many weeks will Lucy and Barbara have the same amount of money? So they're equal. So I'm going to start with that first formula, 10x plus 5. And then the second one, because I don't want to do this in my regular calculator, Desmos is much nicer to use this for. I'm going to minimize me so you aren't looking at me. And I need to find out where they cross. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can see it a little better. So they cross at 885. Which one's your answer? Look at your paper. 8. Has everybody got it? That's all you got to do. All right, let me keep looking. You can. You can. Which one's faster though? Your way or this way? This way is a little bit faster. Can you do it the other way? Absolutely. Do whatever you can to get that answer. It's perfectly fine. You have plenty of time. Plenty of time. All right. Let's look. Just flipping through just to see a couple more. Look at 43. I'm going to use 43 on Desmos. All right. So 43 says the vertices of a quadrilateral EFGH have those coordinates. What kind of quadrilateral is EFGH? So I'm actually going to go back to Desmos and I'm going to graph those. Okay, you have graph paper, but you don't really need it on this one. The way you do it is you make sure you put all those commas in and then split them with a comma as well. So -4, 6, -4, comma 6, comma 5, comma -3, comma 2, comma -6. I'm gonna go back home so you guys can see them. You see that? See those 4 dots? Is that a trapezoid, a square, a rectangle that is not a square, or a rhombus that is not a square? It is clearly a rectangle. Very good. That's all you have to do. So it'll graph it for you. So if you're not sure how to graph it on paper, it's real smart. Say what? Okay. I think look at 27. Look at 27. A line segment has endpoints 2, 4, and 6, 8. The point K is the midpoint of JL. What is an equation of a line perpendicular to JL and passing through K? What does perpendicular mean? That's parallel. Perpendiculars, they cross, and how specifically do they cross? In a T shape, not an X shape, so 90 degrees. So if we look at 27, I'm going to go back to Desmos and show you guys. It gives you the coordinates. I'm going to put those in. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. Drop this down. Why did it not graph it? Oh, because I put a 6.8. All right. So there's one. There's the other one. All right. So then it says, what is an equation of a line perpendicular that passes through K? And K is the midpoint. So through the exact middle of these 2 points. I'm going to put these in. You tell me. Y equals -x plus 10. It's pretty good, right? So let's check the other ones just in case. Okay. Let's look at the second one. Y equals -x minus 10. I don't even know where that thing went. It's way down here. So it definitely doesn't go through the middle, right? So we know it's not that one. X plus 2, it actually goes through the points. We don't want the ones that goes through the points. And then X minus 2, that's your parallel, but we wanted perpendicular. Does everybody see it? So our answer has to be negative X plus 10, which is A. Any questions? All right. Look at Look at 26. The boiling point of water T is measured in degrees at altitude A, measured in feet, modeled by the function T of A equals negative 0.0018 A plus 212. All of this, guys, is just telling you where this formula came from, okay? It's just telling you that. It says in terms of altitude and temperature, which statement is the slope? So which one of these two numbers is the slope? The negative crazy number, right? Is everybody good? All right. So does that mean it increases or decreases? Decreases because it's negative. So we've already got 50% eliminated. So now the question is it 18 and 1,000 or is it 1.8 and 1,000? So remember what I showed you, 18 and 1,000 or 1.8 and 1,000. Any questions? All right, let me see if there's one more quick one that we can do real fast, and then we'll stop. Get 24. All right, so anytime they use like best describes or approximately, you're not going to get an exact answer, but it's going to be really close. So let's look at these. On average, what's happening to these temperatures? Adding up by what? Like 5-ish, right? Just a little bit, but they're adding. That's all that's important, okay? What about this one? Multiplying by 2. All right, so remember what we have. Plus 5, any plus is linear. Multiply is exponential. Yeah. So the temperature using both methods changed at a constant rate. Did they both change at a constant rate? Constant rate means linear. Are they both linear? No, we just said they weren't, right? The temperature using both methods changed exponentially. Were they both exponential? Nope.
Attention students and staff, in approximately 3 or 4 minutes, we will have our last fire drill of the year.
Method 2, was it a constant rate or was it exponential?
Very much.
Read it. Method 2, was it a constant or exponential? So it has to be D. Constant means linear. Remember that. Constant means linear. All right, we're going to stop there. I'm going to stop sharing, stop recording.